This is Sienna. One day Sienna was painting when she heard a loud crash. What could it be? Let's go and find out. There was a big tree in front of Sienna's house, but now it wasn't there anymore. In its place was a shimmering paintbrush. Sienna picked it up. The paintbrush glowed with a soft golden light. It felt magical. Then Sienna remembered what her grandpappy had told her. When she was little, he used to tell her stories about a magical paintbrush that had the power to create anything you desired. He called it the Genesis brush. Was this really the Genesis brush? Sienna didn't know, but she sure would like to find out. She dipped the brush into the air and pulled it towards her. To her amazement, a beautiful red appeared on the tip of the brush. She dipped it back into the air and pulled it towards her again. This time, a lovely shade of blue appeared. Excited, Sienna started to swipe the brush through the air. Red, blue, yellow, green, purple, orange, and indigo streaks of color shot out from the brush and formed a huge arc across the sky. A beautiful rainbow bridge. But the colors weren't the only thing that came out of the paintbrush. As soon as the bridge appeared, an incredibly fluffy white cloud tumbled out of the paintbrush. Startled by all this, Sienna dropped the brush and watched in awe as the cloud floated closer and closer. As the cloud drew nearer, she noticed something strange. The cloud wasn't white, it was actually many different shades of gray. And as it floated past her, she could hear it sobbing. "Hello," said Sienna. "Are you all right?" The cloud looked down at her. "I don't feel very good," it said sadly. "I used to be a very colorful and happy cloud, but somehow I've lost my colors. Without them, I can't make rainbows. And without rainbows, my friends start to forget me. Soon, they won't even remember that I exist. Then I'll disappear forever." Sienna wanted to help the cloud. "Don't worry," she said. "I'm sure we can find your colors. But first, may I ask what your name is?" "I'm called Nimbus," replied the cloud. "Well, Nimbus," said Sienna, "let's go find your colors." "But where do we even start?" Just then, the paintbrush started to glow. Then it shot out a thin beam of light which pointed straight up. "That's our direction," said Sienna, smiling. "Come on, Nimbus. Let's go see who needs some color." Off they went, following the beam of light. Soon, it led them to a fork in the road. But before Sienna could even think about which path to choose, the paintbrush started to glow again. And this time, the beam of light split into two, pointing down both roads. Thought Sienna. "Which way do you want to go, Nimbus?" The cloud thought for a moment. "I don't really mind," it said. "We have to go down both paths. Each road leads to the same destination, but the journey is different. And since we need to find my 7 lost colors, we might as well make it an adventure, right?" Sienna loved that idea. "All right, let's go," Jay said excitedly. "First, we'll take this path. But how will we know when we're on the right road?" "Well," said Nimbus, "I have a magical ability. If you're on the right road, I can sense it, and I'll turn a little less gray." So off they went, walking down the road together. Every once in a while, Sienna would ask Nimbus if he felt any better. At first, he didn't seem to. But after a while, he started to sense that they were getting closer and closer to his lost colors. That made him very happy. After a while, Sienna saw a huge field of sunflowers in the distance. "Oh, that's perfect," she said. "I think sunflowers would look great in yellow." As they got closer, though, she noticed that the sunflowers had lost their color. They were gray and wilted over. "Hello," said Sienna to one of the sunflowers. "Can I help you?" "You certainly can," said the sunflower. "My petals have turned gray and I'm too droopy to greet the sun. Can you put some color back into my petals?" Sienna dipped the paintbrush into the air. "Yellow," she said, and swished the paintbrush over the sunflower. Immediately, it started to glow with a bright, sunny yellow. Sienna repeated this until every single petal was colored. The sunflower beamed at her. "Thank you," it said. "Now I feel so much better. You can bet I'll be making lots of pollen." "Great," said Sienna, because she stopped in her tracks. She realized that the sunflower S pollen was exactly the color she needed to paint the second flower on the rainbow bridge. Quickly, she gathered some pollen and ran off to find more flowers to paint. Over the next few days, Sienna and Nimbus traveled the land. She used the paintbrush to add splashes of color wherever she found gray. In return, each time she colored something, it gave her a little bit of the color it had regained. Eventually, she had enough colors to paint another cloud. She used the paintbrush to shape it, then added even more color. When she finished, it was perfect. It was white. Nimbus was so happy to see his friend again. "Thank you," he said to Sienna. "Now I feel so much better. Let's make a rainbow," Sienna smiled. Using all the colors she had collected, she painted the most magnificent rainbow she could. When she finished, Nimbus moved through the archway and disappeared. "Where did he go?" wondered Sienna. Then she noticed a shimmer in the sky. It was coming from the paintbrush. Sienna closed her eyes and wished with all her might to be with her friend. When she opened her eyes, she was inside a cloud. "Nimbus," she cried. "Are you here?" "Yes, Sienna," said a familiar voice. "I'm so glad you came. My friends and I have been waiting for you." All around her, Sienna saw friendly faces. All the clouds she had colored waved to her happily. "Thank you, Sienna," said Nimbus. "'Cause of you, I can finally make rainbows again." Together, they all started to sing. Their voices echoed through the clouds, creating music that sounded like wind chimes. It was beautiful. Sienna couldn't believe how amazing this magical world was. She spent the whole day playing with Nimbus and his friends. They slid down rainbow slides, splashed in colorful puddles, and flew all around the sky. But as fun as it was, Sienna knew she had to go home. She hugged Nimbus goodbye and promised to visit again soon. Then she closed her eyes and wished to be back in her world. When she opened her eyes, she was sitting right where she had left off. The paintbrush was still in her hand, glowing softly. She looked up at the sky, but she couldn't see any rainbows. Still, Sienna felt wonderful inside. She knew that because of what she had done, somewhere up in the sky, a little girl was looking up and smiling.